measuring. I'm going to put 16 litres into the HOT, and then I'm going to get that up to its right temperature. And then once that's ready, I will start mashing. Okay, so I've prepared the grain for the mash. I'm working from this recipe here, which I got off of Beersmith. It's just called an Average Perfect Northeast IPA. Great title. Unfortunately, the measurements are all in pounds, so I've had to do conversions to kilos. So what I've done is, in my recipe, I've done 5 kilos, of Golden Promise. Go on, focus. I've done 600 grams. Instead of American wheat, I've used wheat malt. I've done 600 grams of flaked oats, and I've done, instead of using honey malt, I've used, I was going to use a pale crystal malt at 40 EBCs, I think it was, or 50. I decided to go, I had a kilogram bag of Caragold, which looked really nice and a bit lighter in colour, so I decided to go with that instead. So I've chucked in 250 grams of Caragold into the mash. So that's sat here currently, waiting for the strike water to come to temperature. Still quite a way to go. It's like 1 degree outside, so it's bloody freezing, so everything's going to take a little bit longer today. I've decided to get my strike water, I might actually turn it up to 80 degrees to compensate for the fact it's really cold and the mash tun's going to be cold, the grain's going to be cold, so I'm going to chuck it up to 80 degrees actually to try and get strike water up, the mash up to a good temperature to start off with before I start recirculating. So as you can see in this recipe, a shit ton of hops going in, which is really great. 2 going in like in 10 minutes into the boil, 3 lots going in 15 minutes of steeping, and the rest of it's all dry hopping. So we'll get to that at some point soon. So wait for the strike water to come up to temperature, and then we'll get on with mashing. Okay, underletting the mash. Slowly see water coming in. I'm not going to film this because it is incredibly boring to watch, but yeah, you can see underletting's awesome. There you go, loads of water coming in. Anyway, going to give that a stir in a minute. Get the mash on for an hour. So just refilling the HOT, getting 20 litres of sparge water ready. So I've got 16 litres in here at the moment. So after getting the strike temperature up to 80 degrees, you can see that now we've got into the mash tun. We've dropped all the way down to, what's that, 60, so 60, just shy of 65, so 64. That's okay, leave that until the HOT goes back up, and then we'll start recirculating. So I'm going to do this for half an hour. Temperature is about 2 degrees outside. It was snowing earlier this morning. It's not anymore, it's just raining. So having real problems out here trying to get stuff to come up to temperature in a good speed. So the HLT took about 40 minutes to get up to a good temperature. So I'm now recirculating through the Hermes coil and the HLT. You can see that the mash tun has dropped down to 60 degrees. So I'm not aiming for 80 degrees, actually. I'm aiming to get up to 68 degrees, so I'm going to adjust that temperature in a minute and recirculate and try and get it up to 68 degrees for a period. So you can see it's climbing up nicely, which is good. So do this for half an hour and then get ready to mash out. Sparge in, nice gentle sparge, slow run off. Colours looking good. Trying to keep it at 74, get the sparge water at 74 degrees, it's slightly low at the moment, it's okay, still heating up. I'm going to leave this 20 minutes, half an hour, it's going to take a while for that to run off. Once that's ready, get the boil going, which will probably take forever to heat up because it's fucking freezing today. Okay, finally got my water out of the mash tun. got 28 litres. Just going to wait for bloody ages for this to come up to start to the boil temperature now, and set my timer for 50 minutes, which is when I had my first hop additions. So flames going well. It's so bloody cold today. I think it's just going to take a while. Come on, focus. It's going to take a while to get this motherfucker boiling, so I'm going to sit patiently and wait. Maybe go and have some lunch, actually. Okay, so the last clip was from 11:56, which is when I just got the boil kettle with the water onto the burner. It's now 12:40, so we're talking 45 minutes, and we're just starting to see the hot break suddenly start to appear. So yeah, 45 minutes for it to come up to boiling temperature. You know, that's pretty shit, but it's freezing today, so it's not surprising. Cool, so now the boil's starting to kick off. I'm going to set my timer for I can't remember when the last top addition is. I think it's 10 minutes, when there's 10 minutes left into the boil. And I don't think there's any protoflock in this recipe. Obviously, being a hazy IPA, I don't think it's needed. So yeah, so I'm going to let this boil for 50 minutes while I get my hops ready, and I'm going to get the yeast rehydrated as well, and I will be back shortly. 10 minutes left of the boil. First top addition, so we got in here 28 grams of Citra, 28 grams of Galaxy going into the boil. Give that a quick stir, get that soaking up that lovely water. 10 more minutes. I'm going to actually go and get the water chiller, chuck that in now, let that sanitize for the last 10 minutes. I've got my yeast, which is prepared, so I'm using Crossmire Real Ale yeast. I noticed in the recipe it's London Yeast 3, I think it is. Obviously, I don't know, this is probably the closest thing I can get through Crossmire or in my yeast selection that I've got at the moment, so this is the closest I think I could get. You know, it's a British ale yeast, so hopefully that'll be alright. So anyway, 10 minutes, it'll be flame out, and I'll start cooling, and I will chuck in the whirlpool hop additions. Okay, just reached flame out, just starting to chill, and you can see temperatures just dropped below 100 degrees Celsius, or in America land that's 198 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, starting to chill. I've got a little while now. I've got to get it down to about 72 degrees Celsius. I think it's 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature's dropping quite quickly. Well, it shouldn't take too long today because it's bloody freezing out there, so it should chill pretty quickly. So yeah, once I get down to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, I will chuck in the whirlpool hop additions, and take it from there. Wow, well, that did not take long at all, literally a couple of minutes. So we're down to 70 degrees now. So chucking in, I've got 42 grams of Galaxy, 42 grams of Citra, 42 grams of Mosaic, I think it is. Magnum, sorry, not Mosaic. I knew we were going with them. So chucking that in, and let's get that stirred in on the whirlpool. And yeah, leave this to steep for probably about 15 minutes. And then hopefully it'll be down to temperature and I can start to get ready to pitch the yeast. Okay, finally in the fermentation chamber, come out with, so there was 23 litres left in the boil kettle. That was when there was 2 hot bags in there, and minus all the gunk in the bottom, I managed to get 20 litres out of this. There was a lot of shit in the bottom of this one, in the bottom of the boil kettle, so quite a bit of wastage, but 20 litres. Final gravity came out at 1.055, so the estimated gravity was 1.062, so I'm short on my numbers again. So this is the fourth brew I think in a row where I've been short on my numbers, which is a bit worrying. I've been chopping and changing. I've been getting my grain lately from Malt Miller. My next brew is actually from Cake Kingdom, from a brew kit from their recipe builder. So we'll see whether getting my grains from someone else is going to make any difference with my next brew. But for this one here, I'm slightly short on the numbers. So I think the final ABV will be about, if everything goes well and it finishes at the right gravity, will be at about 5.6%, which is okay. I'm happy with that, you know. I'd like a New England IPA to be a bit stronger, to be honest. But hey, it's fine. Anyway, stick this in it in 4 days' time, or maybe 3 days' time when we're at Heikrausen. I'm going to be chucking in a load more hops. So we will see you then. Okay, just getting ready to do my dry hop. So we're 2 days into fermentation. We're at the peak of Heikrausen. I feel, although the recipe says to do it would give the dry hop 10 days, which is 4 days into the fermentation, I think Heikrausen is really at its peak on the second day today. So I'm got 28 grams of Citra, 28 grams of Mosaic and 28 grams of Galaxy, all sat in a hot bag, ready to go. They're all pellets, so it's nice and heavy looking, so all ready to go into the fermentation bucket. While I'm doing this, I might want to point out I am drinking a peanut buttermilk stout by Belching Beaver. This stuff is fucking amazing. It's so peanutty, it's absolutely lovely. Really, really enjoying it. Peanut buttermilk stout, seriously, get some of this shit in your face because it is lovely. Anyway, so we have 28 grams, 28 grams, 28 grams of each hop ready to go into the fermenter. I'm going to chuck that in now. Okay, so here we are in the fermenter. As you can see, Krausen's looking as high as it's going to go. I mean, we're at, in the middle of December. It's -5 degrees outside, so it's very hard to try and keep the fermentation chamber up to temperature. We're at about 18.6 for the brew, so I'm gonna chuck the hops in right now, and we're gonna keep that in. So I'm gonna give that a little stir, just to get all the hops soaked up. So this is day 2 of fermentation, so they're going to be in the fermenter for the next 12 days, which is beautiful, nice and hoppy.